G'day and welcome to this Australian Open Live, and it's the Spotlight Series, and today we're shining a spotlight on Wimbledon 2022, and it's the ATP Tour, the Aussie men who are about to launch into the first round of Wimbledon, the first week. And what about this for a lineup? Kokkinakis, Millman, Duckworth, Purcell, Demonor, Kyrgios, Thompson, Kubler and Popram. And of course, the one name missing that we all wish was there, the Australian Open champion from 2022, Ash Barty. She's retired, and boy, who can take up that mantle? So what we'll be doing is we'll be introducing you to those first round matches for each player, who they're up against, which players they're up against, the head-to-head record, looking at their run of form into Wimbledon, the last 10 matches, how their 2022's going in terms of their win-loss stats, and just a little bit of commentary around what we hope to expect out of the results of those matches. So strap yourselves in. It'll be a fun little exercise. We'll be doing the women in other episodes coming up today or tomorrow as well. In this episode, we'll be taking you through matches for Thanasi Kokkinakis, John Millman and James Duckworth. And for the moment, we'll leave you with the sights, sounds, summer of Australia, the Australian Open 2022. Don't go away, we'll be right back. Oh. Okay, welcome back. We've got a lot to get through, so let's get straight to the first player in our Wimbledon Spotlight Series. First round preview, Aussie men on the ATP Tour. Just 6 Aussies left to preview in our special series, and here he is, Thanasi Kokkinakis. He is up against the Polish player, Kamil Majchrzak. And these guys head-to-head, Kokkinakis has got the wood over this guy. Both times they've played has been on grass, and the Pole ranked at 91 in the world currently, up against Kokkinakis. Geez, he's doing well this year. He's got his ranking down to 79. Remember, it was only 12 to 18 months ago this guy could not break the top 200, and thank goodness his body's holding up. He should be a top 50 player. And he should be battling it out head-to-head with Nick Kyrgios in the rankings. He's been as high as 69, Thanasi, and Kamil, the Polish player, been as high as 75. Both these blokes are in their mid-20s. Thanasi would fancy his chances here. He is having an unbelievable time of it during 2022. Don't forget, he's a Grand Slam champion. He teamed up with box office Nick Kyrgios. They were given wildcards to play the Australian Open doubles. Can you believe that? And then they went all the way through, beating 4 seeded doubles teams plus the #1 doubles team in the world in the semi-final, the Croatians. Kokkinakis, his singles record is pretty good this year. 18 wins for only 9 losses, but he's dropped a couple of matches in his last 4 matches. But he'll be feeling confident because the Polish player Majchrzak, he's running at about 50%, and his last 5 matches, he's only won 1 of his last 5. So given that he's only won 1 of his 4 matches on grass, Kokkinakis did drop a game of his 2 matches, but classy Thanasi with Roger Federer, a win against Roger Federer under his belt in the last 2 to 3 years. And also Thanasi, you might remember he picked up his first ATP title at the Adelaide Classic in late 2021, and the confidence it gave him was palpable. You could see it written all over his face. He was very emotional playing in front of his home crowd. His family were there to see him win. Luckily, the COVID protocols meant that they could get in and see him, and we couldn't be happier for him because he's a class player, and hopefully now he can go on to bigger and better things and really make a great fist of it as he rolls through his late 20s, and if he can keep himself right, surely he's got another 7 to 9 years ahead of him on the Pro Tour. Next in our first round preview, a well-credentialed, should we call him a journeyman, John MILLMAN, at the age of 33. Geez, he's having a great time of it late in his career. He's been very successful on the ATP circuit, around the high. He's been around the top 100 for some time, and his best ranking is 33. And his opponent is going to give him a run for his money. The Serbian player, I do believe, yes, that's right, the Serbian player, Miomir Kecmanovic, and he is ranked 30. That is currently his highest ranking, and he's only 22 against a 33-year-old MILLMAN, who does have an ATP title to his credit. They both do, thank you very much. So they're pretty evenly matched, although head-to-head, the Serbian has the wood on MILLMAN, having won 3 of their 4 encounters, and let's take a look at their win-loss stats. The last 10 games, the run of 10 games in throughout 2022, the Serbian he's 28 wins out of his some 40 matches this year, but he's only won 2 of his last 5 on the trot. Now with MILLMAN, he's also scratching for a bit of form recently. He's only won 1 of his last 5. So looking to their grass court record, well, MILLMAN is having a better time of it, having played 8 matches. He's running at 50% win rate, and the Serbian hasn't played that much this year on grass. That he's only had the 1 win of the 3 matches he's played. Now MILLMAN, not a shrinking violet by any means. He had a lot to say about the situation that came up when Wimbledon was stripped of its rankings points, and he was very vocal that in his opinion Wimbledon really didn't really have a right to be or shouldn't have been banning Russian and Belarusian players for this tournament, and fair play to him, speaking up for what he believes in, but we'd like to think that MILLMAN will get through this first round. It'll be tight, but given every Australian's hunger to play on grass at Wimbledon, and you think the Serb might be a bit weaker there, so we'd be predicting a MILLMAN win in the first round. James Duckworth is the last player we're previewing in this particular episode, and he's head-to-head. He hasn't won any of the 3 matches he's had against his opponent, and no prizes for guessing why that might be. It's Andy Murray, the former world #1, 3-time Grand Slam champion. He's won 46 titles on the ATP Tour, a couple of Challenger Tour titles just to go along with that. And the rankings, they're very even. Let's be honest, in the top 100, it's very fine margins. Now, James Duckworth, 30 years of age, has been as high as 46. Murray, what a comeback from this guy. He was down and out a couple of years ago with that hip injury. He could barely walk. And it was so bad that he went out in a first-round match 2 or 3 years ago at Wimbledon on centre court, and they were all waving him off. They were all giving him a gold watch for his retirement, and he's come back from that. And maybe COVID's done him a bit of good with the extra rest and not being able to travel, because this former #1 ranked player in the world, he's won his way back to a ranking of 52 at the moment. Duckworth's ranked 74. He's a real classic journeyman. Found his feet on the pro circuit going through the South American clay courts. Geez, that takes a lot of guts for an Australian to venture out there to find his way. So looking at the recent run of form, well, Duckworth's having a tough time of it in 2022. He's only won 2 of his last 10 matches, and he hasn't been playing much, so maybe there's an injury there. Whereas Murray is travelling along very nicely. All the gears are well oiled and clicking. He's obviously found some good rhythm with his matches. He's only dropped 2 in his last 10. He's won 20 of his last 30 matches in 2022. And on grass, he has a great record, 8-2 win-loss ratio on grass. Duckworth, not so good, surprisingly, for an Australian, but when you think about his clay court preferences, maybe not that surprising. Only won the 2 matches out of 7 on grass. So, although we'd like to think that James Duckworth, he's a real fighter, really big engine, but I think that this particular occasion this year, I think Andy Murray might get through, especially with the support of his home crowd. And don't forget, the Poms will be flocking in droves to Wimbledon this year. Let's not forget about the emotional factor for the crowd. Wimbledon was cancelled in 2020, and last year the crowds were very, very restricted. There was a lot of COVID protocols as well besides that. So this year they're back. There's no restrictions, there's no protocols, there's no testing, no vaccines required either. So Novak Djokovic will be pretty happy to hear all that. But yeah, I think all these factors will get Andy Murray over the line if it goes down to the wire. And also look out for our other upcoming series on Wimbledon, stripped of rankings points. We're going to be presenting some episodes looking into the circumstances and the ramifications, consequences, a little bit of the fallout from that decision by Wimbledon, and then how the player tours reacted to that decision. And also, coming up after Wimbledon, leading into the US Open, we're going to be looking at the topic of mental health and how professional tennis players down the rankings, how those players on the Challenger and ITF circuits deal with being players travelling around the world looking to rack up rankings points so they can forge their way into the Grand Slams and the challenges they deal with. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. You're listening to This Australian Open Life. You can watch us on the internet all over the world from anywhere you are. And we've also got our podcast going, of course, hosted by Acast. But you can find us on Spotify, on all those channels. The names which just escape me. Isn't that hopeless? But you can find us on wisewords.com.au. You can find the podcast and listen from the comfort of your lounge room, your laptop, your mobile, when you're on the train, when you're on the plane, anywhere in the world. This Australian Open Life will be pleased and happy to keep you company. Thanks for joining us on This Australian Open Life. You've been listening to me, the bloke who walks, sometimes known as the bloke who bangs on a bit. We're based in Melbourne, Australia. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Please keep following. Please keep enjoying these episodes and enjoy the tennis. We hope you're having a great time keeping an eye on these elite international tennis players. So that about wraps it up. Hope you enjoyed that very rudimentary summary. I'm not going to pat myself on the back about the quality of this episode. It was really just about bringing together all those names of all those players and just letting you know that that's where things are at, because we live in a digital age, but it's actually sometimes not that easy to find all this information. And the Christmas New Year's break, I mean, who wants to spend all their time looking at endless streams of apps and websites and so let us do all the hard work for you. That's what we're here for. And it's so very much appreciated that we're finding out that from most of the viewers, whether it's by comments or likes or subscriptions, that this Australian Open Life is hitting the mark for you. You've been listening to Bloke Who Walks. This was our Wildcards episode of the Spotlight series. Have a great new year. Thanks for listening, and we'll chat to you very soon. Bye for now. Based in Melbourne, Australia, This Australian Open Life is produced by Wise Words Media and Calumny Films.